Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Chris, the podcast on which I share my life with you, as well as address anything that you post in the comments. So if you've got any questions, subjects, or anything you'd like me to talk about, make sure to add it down there. I promise you that it will make the podcast a lot more interesting than it currently is, because right now I really am just sharing my life with you, waiting for a bit of input. I have been thinking about perhaps just thinking up some stuff myself and being like, okay, today I'll talk about this, today I'll talk about that, but that wouldn't feel as dynamic, and that's kind of what I want for the podcast. I want it to be dynamic, I want it to feel more natural to everyone involved, so that it's a conversation rather than a lecture. And with that out of the way, like I said, make sure to leave it down below so that I can actually talk about it. It would mean the world to me, and I'm sure that it would, like I said, make it a lot more interesting. Now I'm just rambling. Onwards. So, today I managed to sleep for almost 13 hours. For the past few weeks, I want to say I've barely slept, but that's not true. I've just had a bit of trouble sleeping, which is to say that even on the weekend, I went to bed really late. Due to circumstance, it's the weekend, I was having fun with my girlfriend and stuff, and then the next morning, I wake up at 6. So I got less than 7 hours of sleep, which, still quite a bit of sleep, but I didn't have an alarm, and I woke up naturally and I couldn't sleep. Now, today, the day after I finally learned that my re-examinations are actually the first one, is on the 30th of June, which means it is a few days before my trip. I go abroad on the 2nd of July, so it's 2 days before my trip. And that is so great. Because then if I do fail my exam the first time around, which I won't, I won't. I'll get into why I won't in a second. But, if I do, I'll still have a second attempt. Then the third attempt is on the 17th of August. My current booking is I've got a place to stay until the 18th and kind of a deal with her to stay another 10 days. And my plane goes home on the 28th. So that means I would have to leave a couple of weeks earlier than expected, or rather than I want to. But before, I thought that if I failed, I'd have to go home in the beginning of August. I thought I'd have to leave halfway through my vacation, but I won't. So that's great. It looks like I've got a chance. I've got 2 attempts to pass, which means even if I did make a stupid mistake the first time around, I'll still have plenty of opportunity to pass again. And if I fail then, I won't lose out on much of my vacation. But now here's the thing, I won't fail. I just, this morning, I walked around my living room and kitchen, just talking to myself, pretending that I was, explaining the theoretical stuff to my teachers. And the truth is, I've done really, really well. Now, I do need to make a PowerPoint today and finalize it tomorrow, because it's not a requirement, but it is something that would help me. It would also allow me to show before and after pictures. And it would help create a red thread, because I can think about the red thread before I go into the room, so I don't just ramble. But that doesn't change the fact that I actually get all of it correct. And now, here's the thing. I'm one of those people who's really good at admitting when he's not sure about something. So when I walk around answering these questions, I am almost 100% certain of everything I'm saying. There are a few things where I'm like, that may not be right. But if I get 95% right, then I can still get an A. And it's not even about getting an A. I just want to pass. That's all I care about, is to pass, so that I don't have to think about it anymore. Now, the unfortunate thing about potentially failing is that I would have to think about it for a few more weeks, and I'd have to think about it all the way up until right before my vacation. And then if I fail that one, it would hurt my vacation. So I do need to pass the first time around still, because of my own comfort, because of my own needs. I can't keep working on my exam. I need to work on something else. I have other projects that I want to work on. And so I just need to pass, and I can pass, because everything I've done has some basis in theory, and that's what they wanted from us. Most people around here, they've made websites that look pretty. I haven't. I've made a website that fulfills certain theoretical criteria. And pretty is also a personal opinion, whereas theory isn't. Theory is about statistics and methodology and stuff that has been at least semi-proved. Such as the Western population preferring left alignment. We like left aligned text. Our brains also find columns to be easier to read, even though we read long lines faster. And we prefer an F or an E pattern when reading on screens. And we use a Z pattern when looking at something design-wise. And now, when you think about it, my site is both. It's on a screen, and it's also a piece of design. So I have ensured that relevant information is placed in a way that is visible to both patterns. So everything is optimized. Everything is on point. It's well thought out. It's thorough. That's just the way I do it. I'm thorough. So they can't really say anything. And I've made a lot of improvements accessibility-wise. I kind of wanted to do some search engine optimization as well. And I've made it more thorough by adding a dark theme. Made it more welcoming by... I've used shape theory to guide the eyes of the onlooker. Like, I've done a lot of things right. And if they fail me, everyone fails. Now, I might fail because of a technicality, because they can fail us due to technicalities. If a link in our report doesn't work, for example, we fail. So, yeah, I'm a little worried about that. And I don't know. We tested it. We all did, but there might still be something wrong. There's always the potential for error. That said, though, there isn't. I'm fairly certain there are no technical errors that they can fail me on. And I will walk in there and I will fucking own any question that they ask me. And then I'll go out and I'll get an A or maybe a B. And that'll be it. Now, one thing I'm even more worried about is that my group mates, 2 of them have their exams tomorrow. And so I was going to be there as a surprise for them. I was going to come in and be like, hi, I just wanted to be here for you, moral support and all that. But one of them actually asked me yesterday if I was going to come in. And so I told her, yes, of course I'm coming in. I'm going to be there for them. And she said that, okay, in that case, she's coming in on Thursday to support me. And I feel like that is such an amazing group to be in, right? Because, first of all, these people, they make me want to be there to support them. I have 11.5 kilometers there. I usually round that up to 12. But, yeah. So, 11.5 kilometers on bike. And it might rain. But I'm still going. I'm going there to support them. And, you know, she'll come in to support me too. I don't think the other one is going to come in to support me because she lives in a town far away. And she'd have to, like, get in her car. And her car, you know, it costs money due to gasoline being so expensive recently and all of that. So I don't expect her to be there at all. But I'm almost 100% certain that if she ever... Because her boyfriend lives in our town. And if she ends up staying the night with him, I'm almost certain that she's going to be there on Thursday as well. Because this is just such a supportive group. And I love that. I don't think any of the other groups have that. Sure, they help each other, but yeah. You see them and they're just there. They're not having fun. They're not challenging each other. They're not teaching each other. They're not really doing anything for the group. That's where I feel like our group really owns it. We have the best group. I've said it before, I'll say it again, we have the best group, and I'm so proud of them. It makes me so happy because I did not expect anyone to be there for me on Thursday when I go in. But apparently one of my group mates will be, and the other one might. Now, she didn't say anything, but she might be there if she ends up staying the night at her boyfriend's place. And that would be, it means a lot. And I think the teachers will see that too. They'll see that that we're there for each other. And they'll be proud of us, Because that's their intention for the groups, is that we're there for each other, we support each other. And we guide each other, we help each other, we learn together. And that's also why I think we are going to own this. Without my group, I wouldn't have had all of the theoretical knowledge that I have at this point. One of them stayed a little later yesterday just to go through the flashcards with me. And we went through them and we had it all down pat. Every single one of them. There was not one that we could not answer. That's actually a lie. No. There is one that we can answer, the first one, the very first card, and that's why it's there. It is the 8 components, the 8 elements that make up a good user interface. They are responsiveness, familiarity, aesthetics, forgiveness, and there, I can remember half of them. And it's always different ones I remember. It's so annoying. But yeah, that one is the one that's going to trip us up. But there's the 5P approach, for example. I don't think anyone in class knows the 5P approach. And that's premise, promise, picture, proof, and push. Essentially, it's like premise, you figure things out, what's going on. Promise, what can you deliver. Picture, you imagine it in your head. You kind of create the imagery of what it's going to be like. Proof, you back it up with statistics and research and knowledge. And you push the solution out into the wild. Now, there are some models that I'm not entirely down with. Like the waterfall method, I know that it's kind of a static version of design thinking. Design thinking itself is agile. But I don't really know much about the waterfall method, but it's also... So, okay, we could answer the flashcards, we can answer most knowledge, but there are still some things, but we can answer twice as much as anyone in class. And unfortunately, I think that what they're going to fail on is what the code does. Because I have tried explaining it to them over and over, and they have such a hard time doing it. But they can ace anything else. I just really hope that our teacher realizes that he needs to save code questions for last. Because if he asks a code question first, they're going to shut down. They're going to shut down completely, and then they won't be able to answer the rest of the questions, and they might end up failing. Now, I don't know what to do if they fail. I really don't. But yeah. I've tried my best to support them. I have. And the truth is they wouldn't have gotten this far without me. They would have broken their necks. Like both of them have openly admitted that they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the group. And I feel the same way. Well, I think I'd still be here, but I'd fail the exam. And that's a different matter, because I wouldn't have the necessary theoretical knowledge. I wouldn't have practiced the knowledge that I do have, and there would just be so much that didn't work out. And so, yeah. I'm glad I got them, and they're glad they got me. That doesn't mean that we're all going to pass, but we are. I believe that we're going to pass. I believe in them. And if they fail, I'm gonna complain. Like, seriously. I will. I have seen the statistics of failed students, and I've been thinking about writing a formal complaint letter anyway, but that's because I feel like the structure of our teachings, it's completely off. It needs to be so much better. They can do so much better. And there are ways to do that. And I don't have the ultimate answer, but I do have clues to the solution, because I'm a student, but I'm also a student who has knowledge that the other students don't. Like, at times I would tell the teacher that he was wrong because he was outdated, or maybe, yeah. So anyway, I have knowledge that most students don't, and that's because we've been working in web development. With all the theories and stuff, I don't know anything. Really, I don't. But with all the programming and all that, and that's what builds up to our exam. Our students have not had enough guidance in that, because programming is difficult to a huge part of the population. And we were basically just taught how to set up a document, but not really why we set up a document. Not really what the purpose is, not really what they're named. And I feel like we need to make flashcards for this as well. We are going to develop those flashcards for the first semester students. And we're going to give them to the teachers. I'm going to develop them over summer, refine them in the beginning of September, print them at the end of September, and then give them to the teachers during October. And the teachers will then give them to the students, because I really think that these things will help. Anyway, it's time for me to go. I can talk about them more tomorrow, maybe. We'll see. Tomorrow might be a bit pressed because I have to go support my classmates. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And bye-bye now.